Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Harry Keeling, and on behalf of the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation and Alaska Public Media, welcome to Hangar Flying. Our guest this evening is Ryan Gould. Ryan was on last time. He's an air traffic control supervisor at Merrill. Before that, he was at Anchorage Tower, and when he was on the program last time, we were talking about Part 93, explaining exactly what it was, and also dispelling the rumor that the FAA is not going to, or the tower, or the towers are not going to approve any more deviations to Part 93. What we ended up understanding is this. If you want a Part 93 deviation, ask for it. If the tower can give it to you, they will. If they can't, they'll probably discuss options, but you don't necessarily expect you're going to get it every time, and you've got to have it approved before you do what you want to do. Tonight I want to talk about CAR-T airspace. Welcome back, Ryan. Talk about what is CAR-T airspace?
CAR-T airspace is another special airspace that we reserve for Elmendorf traffic. Again, that coming into land runway 34 at Elmendorf. Since our airspace is so close, we section off a bit of airspace so that the aircraft can descend and land into Elmendorf. The airspace itself is basically almost all the way from the east border of Merrill's airspace until just east of Bregal Street, and it extends from the northernmost part of Merrill's airspace down to just south of 15th Street. So that does get a bit confusing for guys that are unfamiliar. So what happens is we have a guy coming into Elmendorf. We activate our CAR-T airspace. At that point in time, we clear out any aircraft that are in that airspace, and we turn other aircraft to avoid it. So basically what a pilot can expect coming in from the northwest is to keep their base inside or west of Bregal, or to, if they're coming in from the east, to enter our airspace south of Northern Lights. And that will always be indicated or dictated by a controller. They'll let the pilot know the airspace is hot and how to enter our airspace to avoid it.
Okay, good. Thank you for that explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that having flown some flight reviews with folks recently, there's a lot of you that don't even know that CAR-T airspace exists. It is in the supplement. There is a diagram in the supplement that you should look up and review. But Ryan has explained to you what's going to happen. If CAR-T airspace is in effect, you need to be aware of that area and avoid it. So let me ask you this, Ryan. Someone unfamiliar with the procedure, coming in from Canada, coming in from the east, calls in, checks in, and you say CAR-T airspace is in effect, and he says, "Can you tell me what to do? I have no idea. I have no clues."
Yeah, we get that frequently, even now, because a lot of local pilots still are not familiar with the CAR-T. By the way, the CAR-T will be active much more frequent than normal up until October 2nd. Elmendorf is doing runway construction, and so that's going to, on runway 6 at Elmendorf, so that's going to be closed for a while, and all their aircraft are going to be coming through our airspace to land runway 34. So up until October 2nd, we will have more increased activity for the CAR-T.
So let me ask you a question. I should know this, but do you have like a bright scope in the tower, a radar so you can see where these, can you skin paint these folks, or?
Some. That's a complicated question. Tell you what, let me answer the first question, and then I'll go back to that one. So for guys that are unfamiliar in our airspace, what we'll do is we'll probably tell them to come around the Tudor Muldoon curve. It's a very pronounced landmark. Everybody can see it. It's very big. And once we get them in sight, we'll tell them to enter that airspace, and then we can kind of coach them via headings or landmarks at that point into the runway.
Good, okay.
And then secondly, your other question was regarding...
I was just curious whether or not you could help this poor soul that's coming in from Canada, has no clue.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We work with every pilot individually.
So, I mean, you could actually tell him, hey, listen, you need to head south at this point, and you know, basically talking through it.
Exactly.
Okay, you probably do that a lot, don't you?
Every day. Every day.
And so I was coming in the other day and from the west, and you said, keep your base inside Costco. Is that pretty hard for folks to do, or?
No, Costco is a very visible landmark out there. It's a big white building. You can't miss it. And once we say that, usually we get the aha moment from the pilots. That guy, okay.
Ryan, thanks for being on the program, and thanks for talking about Part 93 and talking about CAR-T airspace. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed tonight's program. My recommendation is this: get your supplement out, look at Part 93, make sure that you know the departures and arrival procedures for the runway that you're operating on, because this is not optional. If you're flying out of one of those busy airports, you need to comply with the procedures. And we talked about Part 93, we talked about CAR-T airspace. Please review that too if you're operating on a Merrill field. Until next time, fly safe.